As a high performer, it's very easy to fall into the trap of thinking that doing more will create more results in your life. So if I do this work and I create these results, if I do twice as much, I will double my results. And in some cases, this might be true. But what if doing more is actually slowing you down? What if doing more is creating less results in your life? Because oftentimes doing more feels so productive, but feeling productive is something different than being productive. So are you actually being productive? So this is where I want to invite you into a different possibility with this video. What if slowing down can actually speed you up in life? What if doing less can create more results in your life? And I know this might be a stretch, and I'm not saying that this is the end all be all, that this is the only thing that you should be focusing on. The way that I see this is, I want you to become the most powerful creator possible in your life. So let's say that you have a toolbox with tools in there to become more productive and more effective and efficient, to create more results, to become successful. And you open your toolbox and you have only one tool in there. And that tool is do more work, put in more reps. Then I don't think you're a powerful creator, because now you're dependent and reliant on only one tool in your toolbox. But let's imagine that you open your toolbox and there are 10 or 20 different tools in there that you have mastered, that you developed competency in, that you have experienced, and now you can intentionally use the tools that you need in this stage and season of your life to make more progress, to enhance your experience of life. Now you are a powerful creator. So this is also how I see this principle of slowing down to speed up. It's a tool in your toolbox that you can intentionally use. And especially as a high performer, if you are triggered by the idea of slowing down in general, then this tool might be very useful to master. If you are triggered by the idea of what if I do nothing for an hour a day, then this tool might be very useful for you to experience and master. And this video is not for you if you are unable to take action, because then you need to master a different tool in this season of your life. So just to finish this, let's say, groundwork that I'm laying before I go into this whole principle, if you want to create beyond what you thought was possible in your life, beyond what you are currently doing and what you can currently see, that means that you need to open your heart and mind to different possibilities that are out there. And that's also my invitation with this video. So the question that I want you to lean into is, what if? So let's imagine that this is a thought experiment that we're going through right now together with this principle. What if I would slow down to create more results in life? And you can apply this to your goals. So if your goal is to make a certain amount of money, how would I slow down to create more money in life? If you have certain fitness goals, how would I slow down in my workouts to create more progress? What would that even look like? How would I slow down in my relationships? And I think already certain ideas start to come up for you. Even for me right now, when I say these questions, immediately ideas show up how I can slow down in my life to create more progress. And that's the invitation to access these possibilities that you couldn't see before. And questions are just a beautiful gateway to these possibilities. So that's also what I do with coaching. So to give you a personal example about my workouts, because this is where it showed up so strongly for me throughout my whole life, even recently. So when I was younger, I started bodybuilding. So I started to go to the gym 4 times a week. I hired a personal trainer. My nutrition was on point. And then there was a period where I was free from school. So there was a holiday also for a longer period of time. And what I did was, okay, I have all this time. Now I can, instead of going 4 times to the gym, I go 7 times to the gym. And these were not just workouts that had a beautiful periodization in there. Like, it was every single time complete failure in the gym. And what I saw in the beginning was I was making so much progress, way more than I used to. So this is where you can see, oh, doing more is creating more results, right? So I was doing this not just for a few weeks, I was doing this for months. Every single day, complete failure in the gym. And I thought, I read about overtraining before. And I thought like, oh, that's not going to happen to me. Like, I have my nutrition on point. I am sleeping well. I'm taking care of myself. But eventually I reached the point where my results slowly started to go down. And I thought, where is this coming from? And I remember the moment that I picked up a dumbbell to do bicep curls. And this was just a very light dumbbell, but I did not have the strength to pick up the dumbbell. And when I went even lighter, I just couldn't make a bicep curl. My body, I reached this point of complete exhaustion, like complete exhaustion. And this took me not a few days to recover. I had to recover for months before I could just normally build myself back up in the gym again, because I completely destroyed my body. And this is how I got my first lesson when it comes to slowing down to speed up. Because if I look at a short-term moment when I went from 4 times to 7 times, like I could see so much progress. But if I look at the grand scheme of things, if I look at a year time, then I could see I am not making more progress at all. Because yes, I was peaking, but I was also crashing down. And this is how a lot of high performers create in life. They peak and they crash, and they peak and they crash. So in these peaks, they think, okay, doing more is creating more results. But they don't take into consideration, what does this recovery period even look like after this peak and this crash? And if I look at the peak and the crash that I had with my workouts, I did not make any more progress than if I would go maybe 5 times to the gym, maybe 6 times if I want to go crazy. If I did that consistently, I would have made so much more progress. So this is where I could see doing more is not creating more results in life. I'm destroying my body. The number of times that I got injured because I was doing too much, so many times. So this is the peak and crash. Doing more is not creating more progress. And recently, how this showed up with my handstand journey, because I'm training for the one-arm handstand, and I usually go to the gym 6 times in a row. Then I have 1 rest day. So 6 times for around 90 minutes, 2 hours a day, and then I have 1 rest day. But now I was hitting a plateau, hitting a wall, and I just wanted to get past it. I wanted my body to understand certain moves and certain sequences when it comes to the one-arm handstand. So I was going 8 times, 9 times in a row. I think I was close to 10 times. And what I noticed was I felt my elbow started to hurt again, and I know my patterns. Like, it's easy for me to do more work, but it's very difficult for me to rest. So I took a rest day. And it was close to 36 hours of rest. And when I went to the gym again to work on the thing that I was running into, the wall that I was running into, my body understood immediately. Like, I was past it. Because now my whole body had time to process. On a neurological level, I could completely rest. And this is where I could have more strength. I could have more awareness in my body. My body was not as tired. I could tense certain muscles better. I could understand and feel better what my body was supposed to be doing. And it's all because of the rest. So the slowing down, the resting, was creating more progress in my life. And this is a principle, and this is when it comes to productivity. What if rest, applying it to business or creativity, could give you more focus, a clearer headspace? I remember when I went into the monastery, when I came back, my focus was insane after that. I was so clear on things. But it's so difficult to take that moment of rest. For example, when we're talking about slowing down, what it could look like as rest, to take that moment of rest. Because it feels like you're not doing anything. It feels like you're not productive. Because only when I'm doing something, I'm productive. But you are speeding things up when you are doing things by resting. Because this is how you can get way more done in way less time, because you're so well rested. So that's why resting is part of productivity. And this is part of slowing down. So when you look at your workouts, how would you slow down? Like, what would that look like? And you can even have fun with this principle, as in, okay, what if I, instead of doing as many pull-ups as possible, what if I do a pull-up for 1 minute? 1 pull-up in 1 minute, and I'm going as slow as possible. How would that impact your progress? So this could be how you can have fun in creative ways with slowing down. So just to give you a different example, because this comes up a lot with the clients that I work with, I think with every single one of them, and even recently in a group session, because what happens with high performers is you create amazing results in life. If you look at the things that you're building and creating, it's like, holy shit. And this is where people can get so successful by just doing a lot of things. So recently, a session that I had with a client, he is running multiple businesses. He has amazing success, but he's also reaching a plateau. And this is where in the sessions, we are intentionally slowing down. And now we're slowing down to create clarity. Clarity as in, what is the standard that I want to live by in life? What is actually, because he wasn't even clear on this, what are actually the goals that I'm after? What are actually the needle movers that I need to focus on to reach that goal? So if you are able to create success without all of this clarity, just imagine how much success you can create if you are a bit more intentional about it. If you slow down just a little bit to create that clarity for yourself. The exact same thing happened in a group session that I had yesterday. Because one of the guys, he is so successful in all that he's creating in life, but he just doesn't have a plan. He is not intentional about a short-term plan, a long-term plan. He's just reacting to all the things that are coming at him, and he will figure it out. He will make it work no matter what. So beautiful that he's able to create such amazing things from just reacting to things. But what if you would slow down? Just for a moment to be more intentional about what is my plan? What am I actually building here? What am I actually creating here? So that you can intentionally use all of that energy towards your goals. Slowing down to speed up. So this is where slowing down could mean, like I said, with the workouts, with the resting. Slowing down could also mean, like I said, with this, create more clarity. Ground yourself in more clarity. What is actually the standard that I'm living by? So with that one-on-one client that I mentioned, what he also created was, I need more time in my day, even if it's only 20 minutes, where I slow down to reconnect to this clarity. Because I'm just reacting to things nonstop. No wonder I feel overwhelmed. No wonder I feel like I can't make any progress that I want to be making. So slowing down to create clarity is a different possibility as well. To connect to, what are my goals? What are my needle movers? What am I actually here to do? What is my intention here? What is the standard that I'm living by consistently? Because if it's not in your awareness, you can't live in alignment with the standard. If you don't have the clarity, you're simply reacting to life. And this is where people get busy. People get busy reacting to life, thinking they're doing a lot of things, but it's just reaction. Just reacting feels productive, but again, feeling productive is not the same as being productive. This intentionality part is crucial if you want to become a more powerful creator in your life. You only become intentional when you slow down. Who am I? Who am I in the situation? Who do I want to be in the situation? What is my intention here? What is my goal here? What are my needle movers? What do I need to focus on? Who do I need to contact? All of these things you want to connect to, because now you start to intentionally create in life instead of reacting to life. So just to give you a different example as well, when it comes to slowing down to speed up, and my intention with this exploration together with you is for you to tap into these possibilities yourself. That you can see, this is where in my life I could use this principle to my advantage. This is where I can start practicing it. So let's look at the relationship area. So what would it look like if you slow down in your relationships? If you have a partner, for example, or if you have friendships or family, like what do these interactions look like? What is this communication like? So let's imagine your partner in this case. How would you create a more loving relationship by slowing down? Slowing down would mean, what if I would actually deeply listen to what my partner is saying? I'm not thinking about solving problems. I'm not thinking about what I'm going to do maybe after this communication, after this conversation. I'm not going to think about how I'm going to respond. I'm just going to breathe for a moment. I'm going to slow down and be present with not just the words that my partner is saying, but I want to feel the energy behind the words. I want to be curious about what my partner is saying. I'm going to ask questions. Because you have this created idea of who your partner is, but what if you don't know? What if you are meeting her for the first time? And you're going to create this depth by asking these questions, by being curious, by holding space for her. How would that impact those kind of conversations? How would that impact your relationship? Slowing down to speed up. Like now you're intentionally slowing your energy down. You're slowing down the way that you're processing things in your mind to be present with the person in front of you. You can see how this principle of slowing down can show up in so many different ways, because I can guarantee you this will impact your relationships massively. I remember in the beginning of my coaching journey, my mind was going so fast because I need to have breakthroughs in the sessions for my clients, and I was constantly anxiously looking for a breakthrough for my clients. And so everything was going very fast in my mind. But when I slowed every single thing down, so even when a client is speaking to me, I'm slowing down what I'm hearing. I'm really feeling into the words that they are saying. Like I said, I'm not focusing on the words. I'm focusing on the energy that's behind the words. What can I hear? What can I feel? So what this would mean is I can get to a breakthrough even faster because I'm so intentional about the first sentences that they say in a session. Immediately the energy that I'm feeling, instead of my mind being already in the future where things are going very fast. So this is where I could see if I'm slowing down in a session, I could create faster breakthroughs with them. If I slow down my client, instead of them just rambling on like crazy, what if I intentionally slow them down? Because that slowing down helps them to access deeper truths faster instead of anxiously processing life. So do you see how this principle applies to so many different situations? And this is where you can have fun with this. So this is also what I do with my one-on-one clients, because I want them to become a powerful creator, but also in the group sessions, in the men's group that I'm running. I constantly have these type of conversations and sessions with the men on the call to make them a more powerful creator in their life, of course, like I mentioned earlier, but also to have them be familiar with this principle, for them to develop this competency. Okay, what would this look like? What if I do it like this? What if I do it like that? So we start to explore them. I start to coach them through this, so they access these possibilities that they couldn't see before. So that's the fun thing about becoming a creator of your life, because you start to be able to create in so many different ways with, in this case, the principle of slowing down to speed up. So if you even look at a money goal, what would it look like if I would double my income by doing less work? This is slowing down. What would that look like? What would I need to create? It's like, what do I need to create? What do I need to put in place to do half of the work and create double the amount of my income? Similar to my clients. What if I would do, instead of an hour-long session, what would it look like if I create a 30-minute session, but I would double the impact? What would that look like? So now you start to play with reality. And that's the beautiful thing about slowing down to speed up, because you only get to play with reality like this if you slow down, if you create these moments for yourself. And that's one of the reasons why often people also start working with me, is for this exact reason, because now they intentionally create these moments with someone else to slow down. This is why a lot of men also join the men's group. It's not because they can't make progress themselves. Of course, they are able to create amazing results by themselves, but they want to create even faster results, but they also want to slow down for a moment. If they try to do it by themselves, they never ever create this moment for themselves to slow down. They never do. So that's why they join a group like this. They even hire a coach like that to intentionally slow down. It is such an impactful principle when you are writing a book, when you are in a creative job. You can see it when you create space for yourself, that answers come up that you couldn't access before. So I just wanted to, and this was my intention with this video, it was not necessarily teaching something around this, but just showing you different examples of what it looks like in your life, so that you can access the examples in your own life. And my invitation again is, what would it look like if you slow down? Where would you slow down to create more results? What would it look like if you really apply this principle of slowing down? What would it look like for you to create more progress? And really feel into the possibilities with this, and not just in your mind, but when you access that information, apply it immediately. Let me try this. Let me just see as an experiment, what would happen if I do this consistently? So thank you for watching this video. I hope you're having fun with this principle, and I'll see you in the next video.